Good afternoon, everyone. TSB Television proudly presents high school basketball. Today, it's day 2 of the Richfield Optimists Holiday Tournament. It's the consolation game in the girls' bracket between the Cambridge-Isanti Blue Jackets from 4A and the Highland Park Scots from 3A. Highland Park, of course, a St. Paul's school. Cambridge-Isanti looking to rebound after a tough game yesterday, losing to Richfield in a blowout loss, and it was partly because Brynn Liljander, the top scorer for the Blue Jackets, was held to a mere 4 points. It was enough to drop her position in the state scoring race from 7th to 10th, and she'll be looking to bounce back up against Highland Park. And Highland just struggled throughout yesterday. They were completely overmatched by Bloomington Kennedy, losing 98-24. Not quite the 107-2 game that took place in Indiana, but it was a runaway from the tip. Cambridge-Isanti will wear the white jerseys. Highland Park will wear the red. Let's take a quick look at the starters for Cambridge-Isanti. It's Brynn Liljander, number 10 at guard. Number 11, Amanda Hansen at forward. Number 15, Justine Larson at forward. Number 30, Lily Porta, she's a guard. And number 33, Paige Mielhauser, she's also a guard. Highland Park will start Sadie Stone, number 11 at guard. Number 15, Adriana Cardenas at guard. Number 24, Erica Turner, she's a forward. Number 32, Briara Vernig, she's a center. And number 33, Samantha Agranoff, she's also a center. Game begins. And Turner has her glasses displaced. Here's Lily Porta, but she doesn't get in position in time. She does get the basket, though, so not quite a fast break, but still 2 points, and that's what matters on the scoreboard. Agranoff offensive rebound, hands off to Stone, and her mid-range shot is short. Rebound, Justine Larson. Had a season high in scoring in yesterday's loss. Agranoff with the rebound, and here comes Turner. We had this situation take place yesterday, and a 5-second violation is called. Highland Park turns it over. The situation, I should point out, was some of the Highland players wearing glasses and getting dislodged, and that's why some players will wear contacts when playing in athletic competitions. Three-pointer from Hansen is short. Liljander will try from the corner. Swish! Liljander had 4 points, just one field goal in the game against Richfield. Just didn't have much of an answer with Jessica January and Sierra Ford Washington splitting guarding duties over at Richfield, and that's what contributed to Liljander's issues. Her average dropped from 26 to 23 points a game. And as we mentioned, her position in the state scoring rates fell from 7th to 10th. Briara Vernig with the basket. For three, Mielhauser off target, rebound Vernig. Turner to Agranoff. Vernig left open, but not a long distance shooter, so Highland Park will reset. Justine Larson with the steal. Cambridge-Isanti looking to go to 5-3 on the year. Highland Park just looking for some kind of boost of morale after the beating they took yesterday. Liljander scored, and she pump fakes a three. Larson for the 16-footer, and there's a traveling violation. Took a couple of baby steps. The shot was well off as it was. But the Blue Jackets have a 7-2 lead. Agranoff double teamed. Gets out of it. Stone bouncing over to Cardenas. Turner. You see the brace. She suffered an ACL tear last year and sat out most of the year. Vernig can't get the turnaround hook. And Liljander with the rebound. Nice skip pass to Hansen for the bucket. Cardenas was open and the ball nearly hit the person operating the video board in the visiting end of the gym. Cardenas, no. Vernig offensive rebound, and she'll go to the line. Video boards are becoming more common with high school basketball now, as they offers some advertising opportunities. Vernig, 13.1 points per game on the season. Her season high is 24. Ryla Baumgartner is in the game for the Scots. Vernig bricks both. Larson with the rebound. Liljander racing to the basket. Liljander up to 7 points. He's already nearly doubled her scoring output from yesterday, but Vernig with the turnaround in the basket. With the format of basketball here in the Minnesota State High School League, Liljander is broken up by Turner. One bad game will not destroy your season. Everybody makes the playoffs, so it's all about setting up for section play down the road, but Liljander on the nice roll. Scoring a pair from the paint. She's up to 9, and the Blue Jackets are up 13-4 over the Scots. Agranoff losing the handle. And that's a backcourt violation. Agranoff wasn't fast enough to receive the pass. He's 13-4 is the score, and now we're going Highland Park's direction, so those turnovers cancel each other out.
Come on, Brynn, now do this. Move it. Go.
Here's Turner. Tried the handoff to Cardenas, but Cambridge breaks it up. Cambridge-Isanti for a school, Section 7. So the section where most of the non-metro schools participate, at least up in the northern end of the state. Turner, pass is broken up, but Vernig picks up the Hail Mary type ball after the deflection, but comes up short on the shot attempt. Liljander out to Hansen. Muehlhauser, swish. And Deb Williams, the Highland Park head coach, calls timeout with 13:04 left as her team struggled to get the ball past the half-court line. Highland Park played in the Twin Cities Championship a year ago, and they've had some decent players, but the problem they've had in recent history they are unable to get those quality wins against teams that they need to beat to gain respect throughout the state. They can beat the teams below them in terms of rankings and the matchups, but when they have to go play against the Hill Murrays and the Richfields and the Kennedys of the world, they've struggled. But they've had some success, and one of their alumni playing collegiate basketball over at Concordia University in St. Paul, Keonda Nix. And if you go back further to the 80s, a time before I was born, they were a regular participant in state tournaments, qualifying in 85 and 86, and that 86 run, they finished second, and Baumgartner just nicked the out-of-bounds line, but that's all you have to do to turn it over. Blue Jackets sending in some reserves. We'll get to those players in a second. That's Sydney Larkin, number 22, and Maria Vavra, number 32. Traveling violation, and Cambridge turns it over. Cambridge-Isanti finished 20-9 on the season. A year ago, I should point out. This season's still ongoing, of course. So Stone with the steal. And Stone hands the rock back to Porta. Vavra pump fakes, bounces over to Hansen, got it. And Highland Park finding a similar storyline to their game with Kennedy. Blocking foul will be called on Sydney Larkin.
Blue Jacket foul on Larkin.
And Turner throws it away. A little miscommunication on the inbound play, and a little more velocity, and the ball might have bounced all the way up here. As you see in the video, Richfield not a giant school in terms of attendance for the gym. Liljander for three. Swish. That brings her up to 12. She gets a steal. The layup was blocked by Baumgartner. And we've got a foul on Highland Park. It'll be charged to Cardenas. Liljander calling for it, had an opening, and she'll drive to the baseline instead. The runner is too strong. Agronoff on the rebound. Turner, double teamed, finds Baumgartner. Now she's trapped in the corner, finds an open Cardenas, who gets the layup. Cardenas with a pair. Liljander can't get the response, but Larkin get with an offensive rebound. And the Blue Jackets will reset. And Vavra finishes the possession with a pair. 22-6 in favor of Cambridge-Isanti. Agronoff with a little finger roll. And Jody Liedl will call timeout. Agranoff did not score in yesterday's game. A lot of players didn't score too much. The leading score for Highland Park was Adriana Cardenas in the loss to Kennedy with 9, but it was not pretty. And Cambridge-Isanti's numbers, as we mentioned, Justine Larson had a season high. She finished with 12. But the difficulty facing Cambridge-Isanti against some of those tougher 4A teams is balance. Only Liljander is above double digits for scoring, and even with yesterday's 4-point travesty, she still averages 23.4 a game. The next person on the list is Paige Muehlhauser with 8.6. And it's tough to win the tough games in high school basketball if you don't have that support. Liljander over to Vavra. Porta. It's perimeter play for the Blue Jackets. Highland Park forcing the double team, and that leads to a steal. Calcutt and Olsen in the game for the Scots, number 12. Turner losing the handle, but cleans up the mess. Larkin. Liljander back to Larkin at the top of the key. Cambridge-Isanti playing very patient ball right now. Vavra, mid-range, no. Muehlhauser with the offensive rebound, and she will shoot a pair. As we mentioned, she averages 8.6 points per game. 5'8" senior guard. Muehlhauser also the team's leading rebounder at 6.7 a game. And also leads the team in blocks with 5 on the year. Don't let her position fool you. She may be a guard, but very keen on the defensive side of the ball. Olsen is too strong. Larson with the rebound. And here is Liljander, who will shoot a pair. The foul is on Turner. With Liljander, in addition to her scoring, she averages 3.3 assists and 3.3 steals a game. And right now has outscored the entire Highland Park roster. She has 14 points. Highland Park has 10 altogether. The official score, of course, is 25-10. Baumgartner, turnaround, in and out. Larson with the board. Shantrea Gustafson in the game for the Scots, number 14. Three-pointer off the mark. Larkin chases down the rebound. Great ball movement, but no basket there. And Baumgartner gets the rebound, but Cambridge-Isanti definitely comfortable in their own tempo right now. Baumgartner, baseline, backs off. Agranoff to Olsen. To Gustafson. And it was last touched by Cambridge-Isanti. 8:02 remaining in the first half, and Briara Vernig will give Agranoff a breather. Liljander pump fakes the three. Cambridge has faked a couple of times in this possession now. And Hansen is just about tackled by Gustafson. Non-shooting foul. Neither team in any serious foul trouble, though. Liljander from the corner, too strong. Larson racing for the offensive rebound, but she travels again. That's the second time she's been hit with taking too many steps. Highland Park throws it away. And this is the consolation game. In the girls' bracket. Porter has an opening, tries to exploit it, but can't do it. Baumgartner with the block. And despite all the red jerseys clogging the paint, Cambridge-Isanti gets another offensive rebound. And Liljander was short. She'll be hit with an over-the-back call. That's her first personal. And Hansen will be called for bumping Baumgartner a little too much. Neither team in the penalty yet. And off the inbounds play, Hansen with the steal, gets the fast break layup. Brings her up to 6. Vernig under pressure. Gets rid of it, finding Brittany Williams. And Cambridge forcing a traveling violation. Not the quickest of teams, but their defense still swarming Highland Park. And rushing their execution. Liljander on an inside feed to Hansen. They've hooked up a few times now. And Highland Park will call another timeout to try to sort things out. The score is 29-10 in favor of Cambridge-Isanti. Not quite the lopsided match they had with Bloomington Kennedy yesterday, but Highland Park can't be feeling too good about the situation at the moment. Now, for those of you wondering how Highland Park got to play in the Twin Cities Championship game last year, they did split with St. Paul Central for the St. Paul City Conference title, and for many years, the champions of the Minneapolis and St. Paul conferences play each other in both the girls and the boys in a Twin Cities Championship. But because Highland Park had the longer gap between appearances than Central did, they got the nod. Offensive foul called against Vernig. for the elbow. Not the possession you want coming out of a timeout. And Liljander was hoping to go back to Larkin, but the pass was a little too wide right. If Megatron were here, he would have handled that pass. Turner missing the three-pointer. For those of you wondering, the reference, Megatron is the nickname for Calvin Johnson, the Detroit Lions wide receiver who recently broke the record for most receiving yards in a season. More patient ball movement, and the Blue Jackets using the fakes regularly. They've employed several head fakes in the first half to try to draw Highland off the perimeter. Getting the bounce is Porta. That brings her up to 4. And that's what Cambridge was able to do yesterday. They got some support from their other players. But when your top scorer is held to 4 points, it's going to be very difficult to win games, no matter who the opponent is. Verning draws the foul and will go to the free throw line.
Blue Jacket foul on Liljander.
Verning missed the first 2 times. I wonder if you could hear a pin drop. Maybe some coins. Writing utensils. That's how quiet it is right now. Verning go for 4 from the free throw line. Should get louder with the next 2 games. We've got Richfield and Northfield for the boys, and Richfield and Kennedy for the girls in the championship game on that bracket. If you want to watch those games, as we have an inside play missing from Shelby Swanson. If you want to watch those games, just click the link on the screen. On the webpage, I should say. Turner scoring the layup, and Lito will call another timeout. If you're wondering why he would do such a thing when his team is up by 19 points, timeouts do not carry over, and naturally you don't get to keep extra for the next game. So if you don't like what you're seeing, you have that option in your artillery.
A reminder, it's 3 o'clock after this game. It'll be a point against Richfield Park.
Cambridge, located about an hour north of the Twin Cities. Not to be confused with the more recognizable Cambridge out of Massachusetts. We have just over 4 minutes to play in the first half. Agranoff with the steal. Vernig can't get the turnaround to fall, and Porta with the rebound. Liljander almost traveled, can't hit the runner. Baumgartner fights for the rebound. And a traveling violation on Vernig. That was the right call. She stopped because she was still in motion when she received the pass, and then tried starting again, and it doesn't quite work that way in basketball. Highland playing zone. Liljander will try to break it with a 3-point shot. Bullseye. That brings her up to 17. Steal by Larson. Liljander, pull up, too strong. Hansen, offensive rebound, no. Vernie comes up with the ball. Turner, runner is short. Liljander doesn't have breakaway speed, but she'll bounce it to Hansen for the score. That's become a potent 1-2 tandem against Highland Park today. Hansen making contact with Vernig. They did have a foul to give. Foul is Hansen's second, but of little consequence right now. Liljander will take a seat, and she's had a much stronger game already to make up for what happened against Richfield. As we mentioned, the 4 points as Turner spins around, but the layup is off to the right. Hansen with the rebound. Her 4 points dropped her scoring average by nearly 3 points overall. Porter with the basket, and dropped her position in the state scoring race from 7th to 10th. If you're wondering who the leader is, missing the 3 is Baumgartner. That position belongs to Carly Wagner, the senior out of New Richland HEG. Sheila Gant, the 5'6" forward, draws the foul, and she will go to the free throw line. This environment, a stark contrast to what you would see in college and professional basketball. Of course, the home team always trying to rattle the visiting team when they go to the free throw line. This is a neutral site game for both teams, but even your standard home and away games, as the Blue Jackets come up empty there, even in your standard home and away games, the fans are more cordial. They don't make too much noise when the player's at the free throw line, at least in the games I've seen. Swanson dishes out, and Vavra missing the 13-footer. Hansen scooped away for an offensive rebound. She picks up another one, and she'll go to the free throw line. Rebounding presence, a strong one for Cambridge-Isanti thus far. And Hansen, who's had a solid game, will try to add to her total. Hansen's season high is 12. She's 1 point away from matching that. Also chips in 3 rebounds a game. Five-second violation. Agronoff couldn't find a target to pass to. Hansen has matched her season high. And Vavra can't add 3 more. Larson with an offensive rebound, gets another try. Count it. That gets Larson on the scoreboard, which of course means a mention in the newspapers tomorrow and online on the high school websites that keep track of such numbers. She misses the 3-point play. Yes, that is one wish of mine at the high school level, more consistent stat keeping. There hasn't been a uniform site for some time. The Star Tribune would be the closest match to one with their high school hub. Before that, it was Max Preps. Turner will shoot 1 and 1. Both teams in the penalty. Turner had a mere 5 points in yesterday's contest against Kennedy. Splits here. 50 seconds. Liljander content to run out the clock here unless they see a very good look. But the Blue Jackets have been exemplary with their patience on possessions. Speed doesn't always kill at this level, especially when you don't have a shot clock. 15 seconds. Larson trying to break through that zone. Kicks back out. 6 seconds. And there will not be time for a shot because Swanson stepped on the out-of-bounds line. Highland Park does have time to get a shot off, and Turner did get a buzzer beater to end the first half in yesterday's game against Kennedy, but that was about the only highlight they recorded. Turner has time, yes! And for the second day in a row, Erica Turner finishes the half with a buzzer beater. Highland Park, though, still down by 27, and overall struggled in the first half. Cambridge-Isanti leading 42-15, but we'll see if Highland Park can find some inspiration after that play by Turner. We'll pause for a few minutes and review the first half numbers. You're watching high school girls basketball on TSB television. Welcome back to high school basketball on TSB television. This is the consolation game of the girls bracket in the Richfield Optimists Holiday Tournament. I'm Mike Peden, and the matchup we have is Cambridge-Isanti and Highland Park. Cambridge-Isanti leading 42-15 as we come out of the break. And to recap the numbers for you, all Cambridge. Brynn Liljander had 17 points, Amanda Hansen had 12, and Lily Porta had 6 for the notables. Highland Park, Erica Turner had 7, including the buzzer beater to end the first half. Briar Vernick had 4, and that's about it. But when you only score 15 points. The scoreboard is so surprised they turned off the numbers, the point totals altogether for Highland Park. Well, now they put it back on. Things really got interesting yesterday when the scoreboard went out altogether, and Highland and Cambridge only had the right side scoreboard to work with. The foul was on Larson, her third. And there are 2 15s on the board for Cambridge-Isanti, but one of them should be reading 30. Highland Park scoring. And Samantha Agranoff. That brings her up to 4. Liljander, in and out. And Agranoff tipped the rebound, but it went into the hands of Porta. And Hansen with a bounce pass to Muehlhauser. Swish! While you might expect a team like Cambridge-Isanti to dominate against Highland Park, the reason such a domination is occurring has to do with rebounding. Blue Jackets getting a lot of second chance looks. Fouls on Highland Park. It's charged to Cardenas, her third.
All right, keep working hard. Good job, Red.
Gaining multiple attempts. Larson. Oh, those threes keep going in and out. Porta, long 2. No. Larson, too strong. And that happens a lot with high school basketball, especially for the girls. You get an offensive rebound and you're so eager to throw the ball up and try to get a second chance point. Liljander got the steal, but couldn't tiptoe the sidelines with enough finesse. But to finish up on that other point, you see so many people trying to get the ball up as soon as they make an offensive rebound. We have a jump ball, and that will keep the ball in Highland Park's floor. Many times players aren't patient enough to run another play if they think they're in position to get a basket. Deflected off Larson, and look out, popcorn guy.
Get open now, get open.
Throw it in the Bria.
And we'll try again. This keeps up, this may be the slowest 15 minutes and 54 seconds. Well, now we get a more continuous action. Turner with Porta. Can't get around her. Hanson with the rebound. Liljander. Fans wanted to travel, but still, those are some nice metaphorical breaks. Larson gets the right-handed roll. That brings her up to 4. We are approaching Mercy Rule range. Agranoff, long 2, is short. Gets her own rebound. Can't get the bounce. Vernig, third tries to charm. Vernig up to 6. Larson, right wing. Swish. That tray brings her up to 7. We are approaching Mercy Rule range. If Cambridge goes up by 35 or more, we will use running time at the 9-minute mark of this half. That rule put in place to discourage lopsided scheduling. Of course, there are elements outside of anyone's control that can still happen, and there are conference matchups as well, which can't be controlled. Liljander, though, showing high control over her game today. She's up to 19. And it's 51-19 in favor of the Blue Jackets. Because when Highland Park signed on for this tournament, they figured to be performing a little better. Vernig is fouled, will go to the line. But Tamara Curtis transferred to St. Paul Central. And that left a senior-heavy team last year that had some talent quite thin. Vernig completes her first free throw. She was 0 for 4 up before that point. Two of 6 now, and she takes over the team lead for Highland Park. She's up to 8. Stop, pop, swish for Muehlhauser. Up to 7. Pass is stolen, but a traveling violation is called on Brooke Olson, number 35, making her first appearance in the game for the Blue Jackets. The steal is great, but you still have to dribble the ball if you wish to use your legs to move its position. Williams to Turner. And Turner and Porta get tangled up. That will lead to a foul on Lily Porta. That's going to be her first personal. We believe it is. Baumgartner to Turner, and a push foul is called on Porta. That will be her second. Turner, defenders in her face, can't make it happen. Agranoff, no. Cardenas, no. The spacing was proper, but the shooting form was not. It will stay with Highland Park, though. Baumgartner, no. And Liljander wins the battle for the rebound. Swish for Porta. And production favoring the trend lines for Cambridge-Isanti. Porta picks up her third foul in the span of a minute. With a 34-point lead, it's of little consequence, but she may have to sit up for a little while as Turner's at the line. It's so quiet that if you didn't know we were at a basketball gym, I might contemplate the idea that everyone here was taking an exam. Turner splits. That brings her up to 8. It has just been that quiet when players make a stop at the free throw line. Coast to coast finish for Sydney Larkin to get her first field goal. Jump ball, possession arrow favors Cambridge. Liljander's drive, a little too wild, but it was deflected off Highland Park. So possession will continue to reside in Cambridge-Isanti's end.
Stay with it, stay with it.
Pass deflected, and the steal by Brittany Williams. Larkin with the steal, and we have a foul called as players tumble to the floor. The foul is charged to Williams. That's her first. We are at the mercy rule threshold. Cambridge up by 35. So, unless something really strange happens, we should be on running time in 2 minutes and 24 seconds. Liljander. The drive is short. Rebound Vernig. Turner almost loses the handle, but recovers. Gustafson. Vernig. Not the greatest of touches there. Larson, that pass was too strong, but she saves it in time to find an open Hansen. And Amanda Hansen with a new season high. Lawrence Swanson in the game for Cambridge-Isanti, number 3. Brooke Olson, no. Vernick with the rebound. Vernig missing the 5-footer. Rebound goes right back to her, and she finishes that time. Reflexes paying off for Vernig there. She's up to 10. Highland Park matching their scoring total from yesterday. And Brooke Olson will shoot a pair. Olson, a 5'9" sophomore center. Averaging a couple of points a game. She gets on the score chart here. Splits, and Gant with the rebound. Those long skip passes, though, always in danger of being intercepted, especially against a team like Cambridge-Isanti, who has the fundamentals down to a science. Vavra. 3-second violation. 9:20 to go, and we will be entering running time in a few moments. Vernig muscles a basket out of that with Brooke Olson in her face. Vernig's glasses fall off, and she will need to get them adjusted. A quick substitution is made. Vernig is up to a dozen. But the game should conclude in 8 minutes and 8 seconds. Agronov trips Vavra, so she will be hit with her second personal foul. And if you're wondering why is Highland Park, or why some teams are in this tournament that don't have, the talent or the depth to withstand games against stronger opponents, some of these schedules are put together sometimes even more than a year in advance, which doesn't allow the luxury of factoring in changes like transfers, program restructuring, and can leave such tournaments in a bind. We had that issue at the Pat Patterson Thanksgiving Tip-Off Tournament for a couple of years. Minneapolis North was scheduled to play, but the program fell apart after Faith Johnson Patterson left to go to De La Salle, as there were rumors about the school closing. Well, that led to some very lackluster games on their end. And again, Highland couldn't do much about Tamara Curtis's transfer. But it's a situation that is quite common in high school basketball. Not lopsided games per se, but especially when you get to conference play, you have to play a certain number of games against your conference opponents, as Verne gets the transition layup. And so there's not much you can do if you're a team that is several tiers higher than the team you're facing, as we saw with Kennedy yesterday and with Cambridge-Isanti. Amanda Hansen adding to her season high, now at 16. And so what you saw Kennedy do yesterday, what you're seeing Cambridge-Isanti do today, is just continuing to play to the best of their ability. Because it can be just as awkward on their end to play a game like this, where you can essentially ensure a victory, but few lessons are offered for preparation against future opponents that are closer to your level. Maria Vavra is at the line for the Blue Jackets. Averaging just over 3 points a game. A 5'6" sophomore forward. Gets a few rebounds as well, 3.3 per game. 63-28 the score. Still at that 35-point figure. If the margin were to go below 30, the clock would stop, but I don't think that will be of much concern right now. Erica Turner pushes her way in and scores. So Highland Park with a couple of double-digit scores today, but it's of little consolation in what has been an overall rough tournament for them. And the St. Paul City Conference could be a tough go as well when conference play starts in the coming weeks. St. Paul Central figures to win that conference. They did lose to Hopkins yesterday, but they've been playing a tough schedule. Humboldt on the upswing. Como Park on the upswing. Como Park doesn't have the players to contend for a 3A title, at least based on the early season results so far, but they could throw in a surprise. Humboldt on the upswing thanks to a much improved Lachey Holt, who is also in the state scoring race, is currently 4th. And Liljander done for the day. Scoring average will drop a little bit, so she may fall out of the top 10. But 19 points after coming up with 4 yesterday. That has to feel a little bit better on her end. So Larkin will add to her total. Sydney Larkin, 5'6" sophomore guard. A lot of seniors and sophomores competing for the Cambridge-Isanti Blue Jackets.
And goal into the game.
And Larkin matched her total scoring numbers. She only had 4 points on the year. And now she has 4 points in this game with just over 2 minutes to go. Again, we are running time.
There you go.
Turner behind the back layup. Ha-ha! Little razzle-dazzle move. Turner eliminating some flashiness today. But she just doesn't have much support, and if she did, and that has eluded Highland Park for some time, whether it's support, catching a break, coaching, whatever the reason, Highland Park has found themselves on the short end of the stick a lot of times. Section play, they don't have a strong opponent there. Hill Murray is the strongest, but they're on a down year. So that might provide an opportunity for another school to claw their way in and take a spot that has normally been occupied by Hill Murray for some time. Reserves going in for both teams as we have less than a minute to play. Baumgartner, coast to coast, too strong, and that's been another issue of Highland Park's today, just not having enough touch in point-blank shots. But Baumgartner recovers and gets on the scoreboard. And this may be the last play of the game as Megan Schuyler is fouled. She's a 5'7" sophomore forward, but with running time and 30 seconds to go, this may be the last recorded play of the game. It looks that way. Schuyler is short.
The rebound.
Highland.
Has yet to score this season for the Blue Jackets. And will remain scoreless. Final buzzer. Cambridge-Isanti wins 65-34 as they move up to 5-3 in the year, and Highland Park will have a lot of work to do if they are to be a threat in the St. Paul City Conference and even their section. This was an overall rough tournament for them, although they had a couple of good performances from Briara Vernig and Erica Turner today, but did not have much support outside of that. Vernig with 14 points, Erica Turner with 12. The game high, Brynn Liljander with 19 points for the Cambridge-Isanti Blue Jackets, and Amanda Hansen with a season high 16 points. As she and Liljander hooked up frequently on passing plays. So Cambridge-Isanti picks up third place in the Richfield Optimists Holiday Tournament girls bracket. We'll find out who the champion is later this evening when Richfield and Bloomington Kennedy square off. But the next game is Northfield and Richfield on the boys' end. So stick around for that. Just click the link to watch that game. For everyone here at TSP Television, I'm Mike Beaton. Thank you for watching.